So this is a Theodore Gerard painting, and I am assuming that it is, what, early 19th century. And it has a pretty significant puncture here, probably from moving, and has some serious damage along the bottom corners, which is a very common thing to happen. So we either are going to be putting a new lining behind the canvas so that we can support that puncture. It doesn't look like it's torn, but it is slightly ripped in the canvas. And so we need to repair that. Most likely a lining or a patch, and then we'll do some gesso and some in-painting and then revarnishing. And then of course the frame will get the casting redone, and then so that it matches the corners. We'll probably do some gold highlights on the frame just to make it look like it's, how do you say, restored to something that's closer to the original but not looking new. And so the painting itself will be much more depth of perception because of the varnishing. So what happens is you see how this detail is missing down here. And so the good news is that we have the example of this here. So we do what we call a molding, a casting. And so that casting will make that dimensional detail, and then that gets applied where it's missing. And then we touch up the gold. So it's, you know, gold leaf. And then when I was describing some highlights, do you see how all this detail is kind of not even seen? Because there's darks and lights are monochromatic. So we're going to be highlighting all of those by putting some gold rubbing on that makes that detail look more like it did originally.
Initially, we had several different appraisers look at them, and you were excited to come and actually look at them.
Yeah, I'm always excited to do that.
And you kind of identified with the provenance of the paintings, you know, Kate Arrington.
Yes.
You were excited, and so when it came to comparing prices, the enthusiasm, you know, really stood out.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Peter Arrington, who was a tobacco man. I mean, like Duke is a tobacco man.
Yes.
And traveled, he opened up the Chinese export of tobacco from here, and she traveled with him extensively over in China and in the Orient. And she was just always interested in art and interested in travel and seeing things. And Mr. Arrington died relatively young and left her as a young widow. And she never remarried, but she kept traveling. She kept doing her art discovery and finding arts and artwork. Her house was nice, it was wonderful, but she bought and put things. She put the gargoyles at UNC on the, they got Person Hall, I think. Person Hall. And then she was very instrumental in starting the Mint Museum in Charlotte. She was one of the founders of that organization. But she was just a big art patron.
One of the things that, is that to develop a interest in fine arts in North Carolina, she knew that young people had to be exposed to fine arts. And so that's why these paintings were given by her and put in John Graham's school. I think there were 4 other schools across the state. We don't know if those paintings still exist somewhere, but we know that ours is one of those sets of paintings that she put in the public schools to help develop that interest that she knew had to be there. So as adults, people were supported and wanted the arts. Because she'd been in New York and she saw how much the arts and culture brought to, you know, a place. And she wanted to bring that to North Carolina back in this was 1926 when she donated these. So you can imagine what North Carolina was like in 1926 compared to New York City.